can go racing today, and that her passenger is with her for the duration, because it was a situation that was quite unusual. But sidecars, as the season's gone on, the racing's just got better and better, and it was fantastic yesterday. We were 3 wide at times yesterday, so do stay with us. There may only be 9 of them, but about half of them will fight for the race win, believe me. Let's go over to Liam then, as we are about to get this race underway.
Mick Williams, the number 26 and championship leader, will be looking to extend his championship lead to greater than 36 points, which it currently stands at the moment. Now, we had an unusual situation yesterday where Jack Walters was leading the race and then on the final lap seemed to set up and let Mick Williams pass. But as the riders start to look into the lights, the revs are rising and away they go. And Mick Williams once again gets a brilliant start like a rocket ship off the line into turn number 1. Jack Walters slots in to second ahead of Paul Walters Jr. Mick Lee is in 5th spot at the moment, just behind John Hosker. So John Hosker jumped Mick Lee off the start of the race there. So into 4th place goes John Hosker. But the top 2, it's the top 2 in the championship up to Iredale's, and it's Mick Williams ahead of Jack Walters, who qualified in pole position but slotted down into 2nd. So we usually see quite a lot of great scraps between the top 3 in the race and of course the top 3 in the championship over the last few rounds, as Chris mentioned. Led as being a particular standout of the season, especially race number 3 all the way down to the final lap of the race. But this is a 6-lap race, 5 to go as they come across the start finish line as they exit Paddock Bend to complete lap number 1. And Mick Williams comes across the line. He's got Jack Walters just half a second further back, Paul Walters Jr. 1.5 seconds behind Jack Walters. John Hosker up to 4th ahead of Adrian Ems, Mark Parker, and well, Mick Lee's dropped a few places further down the field. Tammy Lane at the back of the grid at the moment, but has shown a great effort to get into this race, and as Chris mentioned, it's still keeping the passenger on the back of her sidecar at the moment. So completing lap number 1, halfway round lap number 2, and Chris, this is shaping up very nicely between Mick Williams and Jack Walters, only half a second between them, as Mick Lee seems to be coming into a bit of an issue further round the lap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Mick. As we said though, the gap 36 points. Really, Jack Walters needs to start. Mick Williams, if he doesn't win, usually he's second, so Jack Walters needs to start taking 5 points out of Mick Williams per race here. If he can take 10 points out of him today, 26 points going into the final round is not a big gap. It gives him a real shot at Tattershall, and it puts the pressure on Mick Williams, takes the pressure off Jack Walters. So this a real opportunity today for Jack Walters. However, on the last lap, Mick Williams extended his lead by 0.4 of a second to now make it 9.5 tenths. So it's Jack Walters 9 tenths behind, then 3.6 seconds back is Paul Walters Jr. But it's all going off for 4th place. John Hosker is in 4th. Adrian Ems is fighting away with Mark Parker here as they go down towards Iredale's. Oh, and a big lunge there from Adrian Ems, and John Hosker thankfully gave him the space, but that was a bit of an audacious move from Adrian Ems. He did get through in the end, but I don't think John Hosker will be too pleased with that move at all. So John Hosker back into 5th. Mark Parker unable to take advantage, stays in 6th, and then it's Paul Coulter Sr. in 7th. Mick Lee is 8th and Tammy Lane is 9th.
I thought for a second there that we were going to have a bit of an incident between John Hosker and Mark Parker. Mark Parker barreling up the inside, and I thought he was going to batter into the passenger of John Hosker, but thankfully it was Adrian Ems actually went up to 4th and not Mark Parker.
Yeah,
but
I think to be honest, it was the fact that John Hosker actually just gave the rim. It really shouldn't have been a move that worked. So,
but they've got the switch back at the moment on Ems. Does Hosker, as Ems ran a little bit wide, but is very quick as they power up to Iredale's turn number 5 at the top end of the circuit. So this is a great little scrap going on for 4th, 5th and 6th. And Mark Parker looking up the inside of John Hosker. John Hosker's got a lot of great straight line speed as they make their way down to Stewart's Bend, but we've got Mick Williams still ahead of Jack Walters, but only by a small margin.
Look at the two
Jack
leaders.
Walters sets a new fastest lap of the race of 58.1, and there was less than a tenth of a second between them as they came across start finish line. Now, is there a move for a lead? Yes, there is. Jack Walters makes it up into first place ahead of Mick Williams. Jack Walters, where did that come from? We're asking up here in the commentary box. Mick Williams nearly slides out of the race as he heads up towards Iredale's, power sliding it round the turn number 5 hairpin. So Jack Walters has retaliated after dropping back at the start of the race. Only a lap and a half remaining, Chris, and Mick Williams has got a bit of a fight on his hands.
Yeah, well, Jack Walters has gone into the lead with the fastest lap, and this will bring the gap between the two riders from 36 back down to 31. Just to remind you, Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team will be out next unless I am told otherwise as they come across the start finish line. It is Jack Walters with another good lap there leading the way. Mick Williams is second, and this is exactly what Jack Walters needs to do. The gap between these two coming into this weekend was Mick Williams had a 31 point advantage over Jack Walters. That rose to 36 yesterday. With this result, it will come back down to 31, and it will make race 3 very, very interesting from a championship perspective. But they still have to hold on. Jack Walters there trying to hold on as they come through Stewart's for the final time. Mick Williams trying to put the pressure on, and Mick Williams has got the run and through Jack Walters. This happened yesterday, running into problems on the final lap. What has gone wrong for Jack Walters? This was exactly what we saw yesterday, and Mick Williams is going to take the race win. 1 corner to go, and well, they've been handed back victory, gifted back victory for the second time this weekend, and they further extend their championship lead. Mick Williams takes the win. The gap goes up to 41 points over Jack Walters. I'm struggling to figure out what happened there. Mick Williams was 3 seconds faster than Jack Walters on that final lap. Paul Coulters Jr. will round out the top 3. Let's check across who's 4th. I think Mark Parker's gone past John Hosker for 5th. It should be Adrian Ems in 4th place. Let's confirm it across the line, and is. And indeed, Mark Parker did get past John Hosker on that final lap. Paul Coulters Sr. Was 7th. Mick Lee was 8th. Tammy Lane was 9th. Liam, I'm really, really struggling to figure out what went wrong. Jack Walters 2.3 seconds back at the line.
My jaw is hitting the floor right now. I just don't understand what's happened. This happened yesterday as well, and Mick Williams looked as perplexed as we were about the result when Jack Walters pulled to the side and let Mick Williams pull alongside him. But I'd like to point out Tammy Lane in 9th spot. This is her first finish of the season, so they started at Wilton Mill on a bike built by Simon Clouds, our Moto Team championship leader, who will be out in the race next. So the Pit Bike 140s and Moto Team will be just before the Mini GP 50s. We are heading before our lunch break, so don't go anywhere. We've still got plenty more race action before we go off for a little break. But Tammy Lane pick up her first result of the season, which is great to see, and only finishing 4.5 seconds behind the rest of the field. So great improvement as they go through each race and each session as well.
Well, just another reminder to all Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team riders, we will be doing your race now straight before lunch. We're going to do the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team race and the Mini GP 50 race. So all Mini GP 50 riders, please get ready to go racing, as you will go out straight after Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team, and then after Mini GP 50 race 3 we will go into the lunch break, so please make sure you're ready to go. Okay, well, interesting end to the sidecars race, a little bit confusing, not too sure what was going on at the end there. Jack Walters, that was exactly what happened yesterday, and a shame from a neutral point of view, because really the gap in the championship should be 21 points now, with Jack Walters in a position to win 2 races in a row, but instead Mick Williams, they always keep out of trouble. You know, it's consistency, it's a performance, of course, it's making sure the sidecar is able to get at top speed all the way to the end, and because they have been able to do that, they now have 41 points, and you could almost say that they are in a position to really put one hand on the title going in to the last round. They'd need their gap to be 75 points at the end of today. It's unlikely that's going to happen, but they're in a very, very strong position here. So to remind all viewers and all riders as well, we're going to be doing pit bike 140s and moto teams now. Mini GP 50 will directly follow after the Mini GP 50 race 3 has finished. Then we will take a lunch break before Extreme 200s will follow directly after that lunch break. So while we have the chance, we are going to get some races out of the way, and as we are running ahead of schedule, so we are going to do a couple more races and then break for lunch. So to all our listeners and to all our viewers, please stay with us. 2 more races coming up for you. We've got Pit Bike 140s and Moto Team next. Now, we've crowned 3 champions so far today. We crowned 1 yesterday, so that's 4. We could crown 2 in the next race. So it's a busy day for crowning champions. That'll be 6 for the weekend, and it will give us 4 more, I believe, to crown overall, with of course 2 coming in 1 race. So it would still mean we have the likes of the 50s, the 70s as well, to crown AC40 Pro, I believe. That was yesterday, wasn't it? So there'd still be a couple more. Let's say that sidecars being another one of them as well, and senior mini motos, I think. So
the 70s could be wrapped up today as well, because Evan Belford will only need to score 9 more points over
so
Eddie O'Shea.
So 50s is very close.
The 50s will not be wrapped up this weekend.
No.
That's going into Tattershall.
Extreme 200s has been. GP70s could be. AC40 Pros was already. AC40 Rookies
will not be wrapped up.
Will not be. That was very close.
That'll be wrapped up in Tattershall.
And sidecars, we don't think so. 4 more classes would probably roll into the final round. But thankfully, our Pit Bike 140s and Motor Team riders were not already in the queue to get lunch. They were, it seems, ready to go. So just to let you know, any Mini GP50 riders, and this a message to our paddock, our viewers as well, you do listen to this, but Mini GP50 riders, please get ready to go racing. You will be going out directly after Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team before the lunch break. So Mini GP50 race 3 will take place before the lunch break. It's a change of schedule. Lunch break will follow after that, and then we'll have our final 8 races of the day directly following that. So I believe we are waiting for 1 or 2 more riders to get down to the grid. Let's, in fact, Liam, take a look at the situation in the Pit Bike 140s and the Moto teams. So, let's have a look through this. So, Jamie King, Harvey Claridge is not here, which means Jamie King, all he has to do is finish 12th or higher, and he is champion. Moto team, in terms of that, Simon Clowes, all he has to do is finish the race, and he'll become champion. So, both of them are in this race. Both classes race as one. So that means that is the situation.
So we're just hearing that the Mini GP50s will be confirmed as the race following the Pit Bike 140 and Moto team. So that will be going out just before lunchtime. So fingers crossed that the Mini GP50s can make their way to the holding area for the start of their next race. Race number 3 for the Mini GP50s will be coming up right after this. But Jamie King, our championship leader, will be hoping and praying and looking forward to picking up his next Pit Bike 140 championship here at FAB. This is the 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. This is the road to MotoGP, and we are the official partner series to the BSB. Myself, Liam Hodgins, is alongside Chris McCarthy for the rest of the day, and the Pit Big 140s and moto teams are making their way around the green flag lap towards the grid. And on pole position was race one's winner yesterday, Richard Holmes Williams, leading the pack away ahead of potential champion Jamie King. Bernie Hook, who wrapped up his senior mini moto title earlier on in the day, will be starting third ahead of Fraser Kinnaird, the first of the moto team riders, ahead of champion-elect Simon Clowes, 133 in the moto team. Daniel Gilbert is in the sixth spot ahead of Sean Whittaker. Neil Kinnaird
Neil Kinnaird, we got to in the grid. He is going to be on row number 4. Tony Campana and Darren Anderson will be on row 5. Then it will be Henry Meduse and Alex Corridon Brown. And to talk you through the second half of the grid, I'll hand over back to Liam.
Yes, I'm back again, and we've got Howard Taylor in 13th ahead of Ben O'Keefe. In 15th is Harrison O'Keefe, Mark Pollitt, and 16th Greg Pym, Alistair Kinnaird, Ashley Eddington, Gary O'Keefe, Iona Glover and Charlie Ems rounds out the 22 runners and riders for the start of the Pit Bike 140 Moto Team race number 2. I'll hand you back over to Chris for the start of the race as the riders are getting ready and raring to start this race number 2.
Right, here we go. We could crown 2 champions in this one, and they are Jamie King and Simon Clowes. Jamie King in the Pit Bike 140 class, Clowes in the Moto Team class. Are 2 more champions about to be crowned? Let's find out as we go racing. Once again, it's Richard Holmes Williams and Jamie King who lead us, and King is going to take the lead going through the chicane for the first time. So Jamie King, it is who leads down towards McRae's. Then Holmes Williams will stay comfortable in second place. We'll look out for our Moto Team riders as well. I believe Clowes is sat in 4th behind Fraser Kinnaird at the moment as they come through Iredales. And King, is he going to lose the lead back? He ran a little bit wide out of the Iredales hairpin. Into Stewart's we go, and indeed Holmes Williams retakes that lead. But of course, all Jamie King needs to do is finish 12th or higher, and he will be the champion in the Pit Bike 140 class. Clowes, well, he just needs to finish the race as they make their way out of a Sunny Bend into Paddock Bend we go, and down the start finish straight. We'll give you a check on the order. It is Holmes Williams leading the way, Jamie King in second, Clowes is in third, then it's Neil Kinnaird, Sean Whittaker, Jason Pugh, Daniel Gilbert, Darren Anderson, Henry Meduse, Mark Pollitt, Alex Corridon Brown, Howard Taylor, Ben O'Keefe, Alistair Kinnaird, Greg Pym, and then it's Ashley Errington and Harrison O'Keefe.
You can hear the bikes booming across the start finish line. These big Pit Bike 140s and moto teams are just giving us a great sound through the quarry here at Rowrah Circuit, round number 7, and Richard Holmes Williams blasts his way down towards St John's Corner, and to the right hander he comes, and he's opening up the gap ahead of Jamie King through Sunny Bendigo. Pick the bike up, run over the curb in towards the right hander of Paddock Bend, and as they come across the line we will see the gap open up between Richard Holmes Williams and Jamie King to 1.3 seconds. Richard Holmes Williams sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 54.0, and Simon Clowes on the moto team has slipped into third, so he's well ahead of most of the Pit Bike 140 riders, and he's just ahead of Neil Kinnaird, who's also here racing this weekend in the moto team, only 1.1 seconds further back from your champion elect. So once again, as Chris has already said, if it stays the way it is, both Jamie King and Simon Clowes will become champions of their respective classes. Jamie King will pick up the Pit Bike 140 Championship, and Simon Clowes will become the Moto Team champion. He was run close and hard all season long by Will Howarth, but Will Howarth isn't here this weekend after picking up an injury at Tattershall, at Wilton Mill, last time out during practice. So it's great there for Simon Clowes, who's one of the heroes of this paddock here at FAB-Racing, and he's been around for many years and he's friends with absolutely everyone, so no one will begrudge seeing Simon Clowes win the Moto Team Championship, as they won't with Jamie King. Jamie King is an integral part of this championship. He's been champion before in the Pit Bike 140s, and he's here in all become friends with many people in the paddock, and he'll be another popular champion.
Out of the chicane we go, and down towards McRae's, and Richard Holmes Williams it is who continues to lead the way. He's ahead by 2.1 seconds now over Jamie King. Simon Clowes in third place. Then it is Neil Kinnaird, Sean Whittaker, Jason Pugh, Daniel Gilbert. Then we have Darren Anderson, Henry Reduce. Harold Taylor's gone up to 10th place. Alistair Kinnaird has gone up to 13th place. Harrison O'Keefe and Errington also on the move, as is Fraser Kinnaird. So someone's had a bit of a bad lap somewhere. But Holmes Williams leading the way with the fastest lap of the race. Clowes in the Moto Team class leading and en route to become champion, with Neil Kinnaird about 1.5 seconds back. Well, 2.9 make that, so Clowes absolutely flying at the moment. 8 laps to go, and Holmes Williams is your leader.
Jamie King is poised to become champion later on in this race, but so many great battles going on further down the field. The 2-3-1 setting up and exploding the pack of the riders behind them. The 83 and the number 12 powering past. That's Neil Kinnaird and Sean Whittaker, nearly getting caught up with one of the back markers there. Running a little bit wide with Neil Kinnaird coming through Iredale's, powering down the straight, and Sean Whittaker takes advantage of that. So that'll be 4th position from Sean Whittaker on the big 140. And just behind this pair is Jason Pugh, catching the two in front of him. So Jason Pugh putting in a valiant effort with Daniel Gilbert on the other pit big 140 just behind, and he made the move on him. He made the move on Sean Whittaker. Jason Pugh up to 5th position into Sunny Bend, and the number 5 of Alistair Kinnaird making a move on Alex Corden Brown for 12th and 13th. And so the number 83 is coming under a lot of pressure from the following riders. Daniel Gilbert is now also trying to find a way past the Moto Team rider, who finished 2nd behind Simon Clowes yesterday in race number 1. A move going on between Howard Taylor and Henry Meduse. Henry Meduse moving up towards 8th position down at McRae's hairpin. We've got a yellow flag out on track. Not sure who that is. We've got a rider down coming out of the chicane. That is the number 62 of Harrison O'Keefe. So falling out of 13th spot, putting out a great effort. So that's a shame for the number 62.
Yeah, real shame, running right in the middle of the order, and sadly down on the deck. We have 6 laps to go, and Richard Holmes Williams now leads by just under 3 seconds at the moment. Simon Clowes in 3rd, leading the Moto Team class. It's pretty close to 4th place. Sean Whittaker on the number 12, under a lot of pressure from the likes of Pugh, Kinnaird, Gilbert and Taylor as they come through the chicane. There they go past the yellow flag, and Sean Whittaker is leading a Q for 4th place. They're just coming up towards Iredale's now and dealing with the pressure very well. Jason Pugh and Kinnaird just behind are 2nd and 3rd in the Moto Team class, but Whittaker is in danger of dropping back a few places here and down the lower order of the top 10 as they come out of Stewart's and now down towards St John's. Sean Whittaker on the number 12 bike is under a lot of pressure here, but Jason Pugh just trying to line up a move. He had a look over his shoulder last time, Pugh, and Pugh's got the run as they go up towards Paddock Bend. Looks to the outside. Whittaker ran a little bit wide there through Sunny Bend and out of the final corner. That is going to be Jason Pugh up the inside and into 4th place. Brilliant stuff from Pugh. He goes up to 4th, and the next rider ahead of him now is championship leader, the championship winner in a few laps time as long as he stays on the track, Simon Clowes.
That was an impressive move by Jason Pugh. Nearly got tagged out of the race by Neil Kinnaird through Paddock Bend, just clipping the back of Pugh's rear wheel, but then he decided to take that disadvantage and make it into an advantage, getting the run out of the final corner and up the inside. Kinnaird making a move on the number 12 of Whittaker, makes it stick into Stewart's chicane. So Stewart's chicane there making a pass stick for Neil Kinnaird on Sean Whittaker. A little bit further back, we've got a few of the pit bike 140s really mixing up with the Moto Team bikes as they head down towards Stewart's Corner. So great battle going on for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, because you've got to remember Howard and Gilbert are in that battle as well, and Gilbert takes 7th ahead of Taylor as they come across start finish line now. Jason Pugh, got to keep an eye on his lap time. He is lapping faster than Simon Clowes in 3rd, so he's 1.9 seconds behind your series leader in the Moto Team class with only 3.5 laps remaining. So Jason Pugh, not a lot of time left, but he can do it. He was only a 10th faster in the last lap, but that was including an overtake on Sean Whittaker just behind. But Pit Bike 140 champion-elect Jamie King heads through the chicane down towards McRae's. He's 2.6 seconds behind Richard Holmes-Williams, who's settling very nicely for 2nd place, which will give him the championship here today.
Yep, well, Jamie King just coming up towards Iredale's. Only 2.5 laps now for him to just stay where he is, and he will become champion. Further up the road, Holmes-Williams is just coming down the hill towards St John's. Holmes-Williams is going to take a race win here. Holmes-Williams, as 6th in the championship at the moment, has missed half the season though. So Holmes-Williams, had he been in the whole season, could have been a real contender. But Jamie King has just 2 laps remaining, and he will become champion. Likewise, Simon Clowes en route to become the Moto Team champion. It'll be 6 champions for the weekend here at the penultimate round of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Simon Clowes on the 133, just coming up to the line now. Simon Clowes across the line. He comes, he's just coming around the final corner, I believe it is now, is Simon Clowes, and he comes across the line now to start his penultimate lap of the race. 2 laps remaining, and Jamie King now heads down towards St John's. Jamie King, 1 lap to go. He would have known that all he had to do was finish in the top 12 and he'll become champion. He rarely finishes below that anyway, so Jamie King, for him it was just a case of finish. But 1 lap to go, 2 champions about to be crowned.
We can't forget Richard Holmes-Williams has put in a great performance to lead this race. He'll be picking up his 2nd race win of the weekend. But Jamie King, as Chris said, either wins the race or he finishes on the podium. Simon Clowes is only 1.3 seconds ahead of Jason Pugh in 3rd and 4th position. Our race leader Richard Holmes-Williams on the 126 bike heads down towards Stewart Corner, and he is well on course to take another race win. He's only done half the season in this class, and when he turns up he tends to win, and he's proving that here again this weekend here at Rowrah. Round number 7 of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championship. 2 more corners to go for Richard Holmes-Williams. Looks over his shoulder, sees that Jamie King is all 2 seconds further behind. Holmes-Williams comes across the line, sees the checker flag, takes the race win, but just behind him is Jamie King, who becomes the Pit Bike 140 champion of 2019. He's absolutely ecstatic, shaking his fist in the air. He knows what it means. It means an absolute bunch to him. But just behind him we will be crowning another champion, Moto Team star, Moto Team rider Simon Clowes, coming through the last couple of corners, but he's got Jason Pugh all over the back of him. He will be coming through Sunny Bend now, flicking it through the right hander any second now. It's very nip and tuck between Clowes and Pugh through the final corner. Who will it be? Check flag is waving. Simon Clowes takes it for 3rd spot and becomes the Moto Team champion of 2019, holding off Jason Pugh, who was a second quicker on the final lap of the race. Just behind them was Neil Kinnaird, Sean Whittaker in 6th, Henry Meduse in 7th, Howard Taylor in 8th, Daniel Gilbert in 8th, and Alex Corridon-Brown rounding at the top 10. Alistair Kinnaird just outside it, Ben O'Keefe in 12th, Ashley Eddington in 13th, Mark Pollitt in 14th, Fraser Kinnaird rounds out your points finishers. Gary O'Keefe and Iona Glover just miss out on the points, but we've just crowned 2 champions in that race. Jamie King, he becomes a Pit Bike 140 champion once again after just missing out in 2018. It'll mean an absolute bunch to him as he makes his way back to the paddock, and he's putting his great effort all season long, being consistent, won many races, and when he didn't win he just picked up important championship points. A very popular rider in the paddock, and of course the whole FAB-Racing paddock will be there to congratulate him, as they will for the Moto Team star Simon Clowes, who picks up the Moto Team Championship of 2019. Another massive popular rider in the paddock, and there to help so many riders throughout their young careers. He'll be congratulated and applauded, and well, you can say they both will be partying a lot tonight. You probably won't see them leaving the paddock, as they both become champions in their respective classes. They will be back out for the final race of today a little bit later on at 4:20 p.m, so don't miss out on more Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team racing, because we've got plenty more action. And before we go off to lunch, we've still got one more race to run. It will be the third race of the day for the Mini GP 50s. So this is the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. We are the official partner series to BSB, and on course on the road to MotoGP. We've had 9 races down already today. We've got our 10th one coming up just before the lunch break. We'll have 8 more coming up just behind that. We've got the Mini GP50s making their way to the grid for the start of the green flag lap, and I can see Chris is frantically writing down the championship order, because this is one of the closest championships we have at the moment. It's toing and froing all season long, and once again this weekend the championship order has changed dramatically. Harrison Crosby still leads the championship on bike number 69, but he's only a few points ahead of Kyle Payne in second. Chris, this is going to be a bit of a manic one, won't it?
It is indeed. So the championship looks something like this. Harrison Crosby leads the way, and he starts in second place. Second, and just 6 points back by my calculations, is Kyle Payne. Third place, 9 points back from Crosby, is Ryan Hitchcock. Kyle Payne starts on pole, by the way. Hitchcock, who was quickest in warm-up this morning, he starts in 6th place and 4th in the championship. 37 points back. Not out of contention is Josh Bannister, because he had a bad race 1 yesterday and scored no points, but don't count him out. He is going to start 3rd, and if he can go and take a race win here, he'll come right back into contention. So 9 points between the top 3. They are Crosby, pole position, he starts second. 6 points back is Carl Payne, and he's on pole position, and 3rd is Ryan Hitchcock, with Payne 6 points back. If he wins and Crosby finishes second, there'll be 1 point between the top 2 going into Tattershall. That's how close it is. Imagine the nerves they are feeling now as they go onto their green flag lap. This, their last race of the weekend. Mistakes are very, very costly at this stage of the season. One mistake and your title dreams could be over. So a lot of pressure riding on the Mini GP 50s, and the grid looks something like this. Second in the championship, Carl Payne, 6 points back from Harrison Crosby. That is your front row. Payne on the inside, Crosby to the outside. His 4th in the championship is Josh Bannister, starting 3rd. Lucas Brown will be in 4th place. He's been on fire this weekend. Likewise has Sullivan Mounty. He's going to be starting in 5th place and 3rd in the championship, just 9 points back. He has a little bit of work to do, but Ryan Hitchcock, quickest this morning, he starts 6th. Ronnie Harrison McKay will be row number 4. Carter Brown and Ollie Horner will be row 5. Then it's going to be Ben Jolliffe and Cameron Sewell on row number 6. Holly Harris and Finn and Werity row 7. Jacob Stevenson is going to be on the back row. Who is going to leave Rowrah as the championship leader? It is all to play for a Mini GP 50. Let's get to the start. Here's Liam Hodgins.
Well, Chris McCarthy, the tensions are rising. How's this one's going to play out? We're not sure here. It's been chopping and changing all season long. Harrison Crosby leads the championship just ahead of the man that starts alongside him, Kyle Payne, on bike number 25. The grid is cleared. The revs are rising. They look to the red lights, and it goes out, and away we go. And a great start there from Kyle Payne on bike number 25. Jumps into 1st position. Josh Bannister is overtaken by Lucas Brown into 3rd. He drops back to 4th. Harrison Crosby, your championship leader, jumps into 2nd position. What a great start there from Lucas Brown, who's just now looking for podiums and race wins. Everyone through the first few corners nice and cleanly. Ryan Hitchcock was the winner from race number 1. Carter Brown, lay on the brakes into turn number 5. What a manoeuvre there. Sebastian McKay chops off the number 70 there of Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner still holds it. What an incredible first few corners. Carter Brown dive bombing up the inside of Harrison McKay, sets him up. McKay cuts across the number 70 of Horner, all stay on, and both all staying in the race at the moment. But the top 3 are away and running. It is Payne from Crosby, from Brown. There's a bit of a gap back to Josh Bannister in 4th position. Josh Bannister really needs a result, but burning onto the home straight. Crosby looks up the inside of Payne, but not making the move stick up towards the chicane. Gets a great run out of the chicane down towards the first hairpin, and McRae's late on the brakes to go. Not doing it yet. Bannister's looking up the inside of Brown, and Hitchcock is tagging onto the back of Bannister. Looked like he missed a gear or something coming out of the turn number 5 hairpin, and got Moundsy looking up the inside of Hitchcock. Hitchcock getting the run as Bannister runs right out of Iredale's. I know I'm speaking all over the place at the moment because there's so much going on.
Well, at this stage, there'd be just 1 point between the 2 riders who lead the way at the moment. Carl Payne would close that gap down to Harrison Crosby to 1 point going into Tattershaw. It couldn't be any closer in Mini GP 50 as they go up towards Paddock Bend here. This now lap number 2. But the fastest rider is Lucas Brown, and he is in 3rd, trying to close in. Carl Payne betters that lap now as we complete lap number 2. There's just 6/10 between the top 3. Down to McRae's now for lap number 3. Bannister doing well. He's in 4th place. He needs to bring himself closer to the top 2. As for Ryan Hitchcock, who is 3rd in the standings at the moment, he has a little bit of work to do. He's 5th place, and he's 2.5 seconds back from the leaders. He could do with a bit of a battle here. Further down the field, Ollie Horner has gone into 10th, going past Cameron Sewell. Through Stewart's now we go, down towards St John's, this on lap number 3, and it is so close between the top 2. Crosby all over the back of Payne. He's just trying to line up a move. He's just trying to find the best place to do it, and will that be into Paddock Bend? Carl Payne wise to it, closes the door as they come through the final corner. Now down the start-finish straight. Payne, there's just 1 point. The live championship standings is 1 point between the top 2 as they go down towards McRae's now on lap number 4. And the fastest lap is Josh Bannister. Josh Bannister, who needs a good result to get back into the standings. He is going fastest, and he's closing down Lucas Brown very quickly.
Josh Bannister led the championship going into round number 6 at Wilton Mill. Won race number 1 before breaking his elbow later on in that weekend, so he couldn't race in races 2 and 3, so he's dropped all the way down to 4th in the standings. Kyle Payne, who's taken advantage of all of that, has jumped up from 4th into 2nd in standings, and is only 6 points behind Crosby coming into this race. But as Chris said, live championship standings mean that Payne will be 1 point behind Harrison Crosby going into round at number 8 at Tattershaw in 4 weeks' time. This is the biggest the gap has been all race long. It's 3/10 of a second between Payne and Crosby. Hitchcock now has the fastest lap of the race as he tags onto the back of Bannister. 3rd, 4th and 5th are all covered by a blanket, as quick as you like, as they make their way into turn number 4. McRae's. Bannister's looking up the inside of Brown into turn at number 5. And he's not done it yet, so late in the brakes goes Brown, holding off Josh Bannister on number 2. So he doesn't seem to have the pace that Bannister and Hitchcock have, especially on the straights. Bannister is a lot bit smaller than some of these other riders, so it's very light, and it means he can get off the corners and power down the straights very quickly indeed. The top riders are making their way down the hill into St John's. The right hander late on the brakes, get the switch back for Hitchcock. Yes, late on the brakes, and he's pushed Bannister back down to 5th. Thought that might happen from Bannister, but actually turned out to be Hitchcock doing it on the number 2 of Bannister. So through Sunny Bend, Hitchcock is now up to 4th. He was the fastest rider on the previous lap, and he continues to be the fastest rider. Bannister looking up the inside of Hitchcock into the chicane. A great run out of the chicane for Hitchcock down towards turn number 4. McRae's up the inside of Brown. He's done it, yes. He's now up to 3rd. He is still in championship contention going into this race. He was only 9 points behind, but Brown isn't done yet. He's back up the inside of Hitchcock, runs wide into Iredale's. Hitchcock looks over his shoulder, shaking his head. That was an audacious move. Bannister's coming back down to Stewart. Will he make it up to 3rd? Not yet. Hitchcock round the outside later in the brakes, but Bannister's done it. He has done it. This is a fantastic battle between these two. Brown's trying to come back, and Hitchcock through Sunny Bend again. Will he make the move stick like he did last lap? No, he won't. Chris, I'm worried these three might take each other out.
Well, they're battling a little bit too hard here. It's just letting the top three get away. It's been good riding this from particularly Ryan Hitchcock to get himself very quickly up to third, but Bannister fought back nicely. Hitchcock knows he's only 9 points back from the championship leader coming into this race. So there he goes down the inside. He's just gone down the inside there at McRae's to go back past Bannister, but Bannister's going to fight back once again. Hitchcock think he's outbraked himself, just about gets it slowed down. Good riding that from Ryan Hitchcock. Right, so he's into third. He's slowly bringing himself back into contention. Now he leads the two leaders to battle away. Carl Payne and Harrison Crosby currently split by half a second, but this by far the most entertaining battle on track. It is our battle for third between Hitchcock, Bannister and Brown, who sit in that order. What's going on behind this, you ask? Well, Mounsey is in sixth place, and it's Harris, Brown, Carter Brown, McKay, Horner and Sewell. So that is the order behind at the moment as we come through the chicane on lap number 8. Hitchcock fastest.
Brown's dropping down the order. Not sure what happened to Brown there.
Is he coming to the
We're
pits?
hearing that Brown came into the pits. Not
Lucas
sure what
Brown.
happened there, but that's a shame for Lucas Brown, who was putting up a great effort, running in 5th position in this race.
Well, that's an absolute disaster and a very undeserved luck there for Lucas Brown. He was fighting very hard in this battle, but now it is two remaining in the battle for third. Hitchcock, who is the fastest on track, Bannister behind. Two riders who have a chance of taking the championship this year. The two leaders in the championship are up ahead, so really they could do with just trying to push on now and catch the two leaders. But Kyle Payne slowly is taking control of this final race in the Mini GP 50s. He's now extended his lead to 7/10 of a second as they come through the chicane and down towards McRae's. This now lap number 9. We have big accident. Hitchcock is down. Ryan Hitchcock down on the deck. What a disaster. Third in the championship, and Ryan Hitchcock has fallen at McRae's. He's back on the bike and he's going to get going again, is he?
Oh, that's big time. Oh, that's a mess.
There was another rider coming in, and unfortunately, we're just as Hitchcock went to get going again, wasn't able to judge where he was going, and Marshall was running onto the track as well. But Hitchcock has got going again, but that is an absolute disaster. We said at the start of the race, mistakes, costly, could take you out of the championship fight, and I fear for Hitchcock that may be the case. He was only 9 points back. He'll still be in the fight, I think, but it's going to make his job very, very difficult at Tattershall. We'll get the points at the end of the race, but that is a disaster for Hitchcock. You can't say he wasn't trying. He fought very, very hard, and it's a real shame to see him go down so late in the race.
He seemed to be just been pushing a little bit too hard in his defensive moves on Bannister late on the break, pushing too much into the hairpin, which it seems to many riders do over the years here at Rowrah Circuit. But he is back in the race. He's still inside the top 10. He is in 10th place, but that's like Bannister off the hook. He's in a lonely third position at the moment.
He'll get 6 points for that, so he'll lose 14 points to second, and he'll lose 19 points to the leader. So it's a big hit, considering he was 9 points back, and you got to feel for Hitchcock. But there still is a race to do, and Carl Payne is in the lead.
Yes, indeed, and Harrison Crosby is slowly just dropping back from Kyle Payne at the moment. Crosby is just raking up those championship points, but as it stands at the moment, Kyle Payne will close to within 1 point of championship leader Harrison Crosby. Kyle Payne has emerged as the closest challenger to Harrison Crosby in this brilliant Mini GP50 championship. There's a half a lap remaining as they make towards down St John's Corner. Josh Bannister is making their way down towards St John's Corner. A lap and a half remaining for your leaders as they make their way through Paddock Bend on towards the start-finish straight now, across the start-finish line any moment now. So as you come across the start-finish line, Kyle Payne will be making his way in towards the chicane, and he'll be making his way down towards McRae's hairpin, corner number 4 in a second.
Yep, well, they're on the last lap now. They're just heading through McRae's up towards Iredale's. and the two leaders. There was a 2-second gap between them. Bannister under a little bit of pressure. Bannister on the number 2, third place at the moment. So just up the road from him, Carl Payne on the number 25, coming through Stewart's now. Now he starts to head downhill towards St John's, and Carl Payne there, just coming through St John's now into the penultimate corner of Sunny Bend. Kyle Payne is just coming up to the final corner, and this result will mean there is just 1 point between himself and Harrison Crosby. A big win as Kyle Payne comes across the line. He takes the checkered flag. Harrison Crosby finishes in second place, Bannister in third, and that reduces the gap between Kyle Payne and Harrison Crosby from 6 points to just 1 point as we leave Rowrah and go into the final round at Tattershall. What a season it is turning into. What a season finale we are set for in Mini GP50. It literally couldn't be any closer between Carl Payne and Harrison Crosby. And you've got to give a lot of credit to Kyle Payne. He came into this weekend fourth in the standings, and now Kyle Payne is just 1 point away from being on top. So fantastic stuff. Josh Bannister finishes in third, Sullivan Mounsey in fourth, Lucas Brown fifth, Ronnie Harris sixth, Carter Brown seventh, Harrison McKay eighth, Ollie Horner ninth, Ryan Hitchcock 10th with fastest lap, Cameron Saul 11th, and it's Holly Harris, Ben Jolliffe, Finn and Werty and Jacob Stevenson. Well, before we wrap up, Liam, obviously fantastic morning of racing. We're done for Mini GP50 this weekend. We know now 1 point between our top two. Couldn't be any closer. Give us your three highlights before we break for lunch.
Very quickly, Mini GP50s has got to be up there. A very dramatic race. Then of course we've got the Mini GP70s earlier on today, and we've got to see a great battle between Mason Foster and Johnny Garness, with Johnny Garness taking the championship in the LC40 Elites.
Yeah, I think you took the three I'd probably say as well. It's been a fantastic morning of racing. We still have 8 races to go. Mini GP50 may be done for the day, but 8 classes left. Carl Payne now 1 point back from Harrison Crosby in the Mini GP50 class. It is going to be a superb round when we go to Tattershall for the season finale, but we're far from done here at Rowrah for round number 7. We have 8 more races to come for you this afternoon. We probably have all our champions crowned for today. Mini GP70, there is a potential chance we could wrap that up this afternoon, and that will be our second race after lunch. But that is it for this morning's coverage. Thank you for being with us. In about an hour's time, we'll be back for the rest of the races. 8 more races to come. So from myself, Chris McCarthy and Liam Hodgins, it's goodbye for now.